Hey, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Tillman, and today I want to talk to you guys about defunding police. Right now, there's a social media craze going on right now that we need to defund police. I'm not going to lie to you guys. We do need to do better as police professionals. We have to. I told you guys that the George Floyd incident was wrong. I've told you guys recently about the deeply rooted history in America of why we come to where we're at right now. So there are a lot of changes that do need to occur within law enforcement. So I'm with you on that one. But when we start talking about defund police, we really have to understand what it is that we're talking about. So recently I've heard some people tell me, hey, you know what, Ryan? Police need more training. I absolutely agree with you. But let me ask you this question. If we need more training, where do you expect that money to come from? Training costs money. If you want the best qualified or the best trained officers out there, that comes with money. We need to find the best trainers out there. We need to find the best training equipment out there. So that way, when we show up to your door to serve you, we need to make sure that we have the most money and the most training that we can have to accomplish our goal. The next thing somebody has also said is we need better qualified police officers. You're absolutely right. We need the most qualified police officers out there. But let me ask you this question. If we defund the police, first of all, where's the money going to come from to invest into doing backgrounds on these police officers? Secondly, if we defund the police and an officer only makes $15 an hour to put his life on the line, do you really think that we're going to get the best qualified applicants to go into a profession where they're really not going to get paid much in order to go out and put their life on the line to save you? Next thing, we need police officers to be college educated. You know what? College education is phenomenal, and college education gives people a level of experience that others don't have. But let me ask you this. If all of our officers were college educated, how many good applicants, would we be missing out if they all had to be college educated? The reason I'm saying that is because college education doesn't always, equal street experience or life experience. There are a lot of good officers out there right now that don't have college education. But you know what they do have? They have street experience. One of the things that people have always told me is that police need to reflect the community. And I absolutely agree with you. But let me ask you this. If police reflect the community, then we're not going to always get the officers that come into our police departments to be phenomenal officers, because sometimes the community doesn't always have the college education. So we can't sit here and say that every single police officer has to have college education, because college education doesn't always equal street experience. I also saw a crazy one recently today, and that one was police should fire warning shots if we use lethal force. Well, you know what? With that one, if we were to fire warning shots, what goes up must come down. And let me ask you this. Where would you be? How would you feel if you were the person that was underneath that bullet when it came down? I understand why you're saying that. I understand that loss of life is so important, it's so critical, and use of force should be taken seriously. But if we start saying that police need to fire warning shots, those bullets have to go somewhere. So if I fire warning shots off to the side, who's going to be behind that target? These are all things that I've been seeing lately on social media about defunding police and why people feel we should defund police. But we have to think about these things, honestly. We have to use our common sense. So here's what I'm trying to get at. What I'm trying to get at is that we have to be smart when we're evaluating whether or not we should defund police. That's the reality of it. I'm going to give you a hypothetical scenario, 2 of them, and I want you guys to honestly think to yourself and put yourself really in the shoes of the person I'm going to give you the hypothetical scenario about. So let's say you were going in for heart surgery, and you go in for heart surgery and you find out that the doctors that is going to operate on you just recently had his funding cut from him. So now the extra training that he could have got to perform that heart surgery on you, he doesn't have because that funding got cut. The other thing that is, he's probably not making as much money, and therefore, because he's not making that much money, he can't spend that time on his own equipment, on his own, operating room to give you the best heart surgery. So would you want to go in there and see that doctor when you know you can go see another doctor that has more training, that has better equipment, and has a lot more experience, so that way he can effectively give you the heart surgery that you need? Well, the reason I give you that scenario is because, again, look at it in the reality when it comes to the police. If we start cutting police funding, how much better do you think the service is going to be in your community if you know those officers really aren't trained anymore because they don't have money to train their officers? The next thing, let's say you get on a plane flight tomorrow, and right before you get on that plane flight, you find out the pilots that are on that are flying your plane had their funding cut, and so the training that they would have gotten to make sure that they can get you to where you need to go, they don't have anymore because they couldn't afford to pay for their training. So would you still get on that plane and fly to your destination knowing that they didn't have the proper the training because their funding got cut? You guys have to understand something, is that with training comes money. And that's the sad reality we live in. It costs money to train our people. It costs money to get better qualified candidates in there. So what we have to do is when we start looking at police reform, there is not a one size fits all for this problem. There really isn't. There are many solutions out there that we're out there trying to find, but it's not a one size fits all. If I went out there and tried to find every single applicant to have college education, well, now I'm getting rid of the really good candidates that may not go to college, but they have tremendous street experience. If we talk about, hey, we want to cut the amount of money that they make so that way, because they don't deserve to get that money and we can put that money elsewhere. Well, now you're not going to get people that may be really good qualified candidates that come into the job because they're going to say, I can't afford to survive on this. But on the flip side of that is we also don't want officers to just say, hey, I'm going into this job to make a lot of money, because now we know their heart is only in it for the money. Their heart is not in it to really make real change. And so we have to take a global approach at this issue. We can't just automatically say defund police and just cut all the money. I saw something recently where it said Mayor Eric Garcetti in LA took $150 million away from the police department and he's putting it in other places. Well, I understand what the thought process of it. I understand that maybe the intent is good, but now you're going to have $150 million less that could go to officers being well trained. So the next time they show up at your doorstep, they can handle the situation properly because their training is superb. So that's just something to think about, guys. I love you. Take care and God bless.